hats off to a guy that I watch on YouTube. His name is Steve Summers. He's a hell of a machinist. I've been watching him for about 2 years. I reached out to him for some advice on cutting this stainless steel. I'm going to be nice. He told me hand drilling was a no-no. And I punched through this with my little piece of crap drill press from Harbor Freight in about a 1/16 of the time with the same bits that I've been using. So I am absolutely impressed. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate the advice. Hats off. Look, real honest to God, big boy chips. Almost. Not milling chips, but way better than I've been getting. Appreciate the advice, buddy. Thanks. One of the first things that I figured out on this journey to go from plastic and fiberglass to metal is I don't have anywhere near the tools that it takes to do things in a precision sort of way. So I'm not opposed to making things. This is out of a gun cleaning kit. I epoxied the sanding disc into it so I could get down inside pipes and stuff like that and clean them up. These are a set of parallels, and I hand sanded those as close as I could get them anyways. I don't have nothing to really go by or anything like that, but they're close enough for what I need. This is an edge finder for finding edges on smaller stuff, finding center lines on smaller stuff. These were actually made out of the plastics industry that I worked at so I could get into real tight spaces, and the Allen sets were cut off and tack welded in so that you could get into real tight spaces, and I've had to before, so I know what that's all about. This was made for cutting square tubing on my chop saw, so you wouldn't have to cut on the flat, but you could cut it at an angle, which is a way ton better. A lot of this stuff I have learned off of YouTube, but I can't go out and buy this stuff right now, so I just make what I can make and do with what I have to do with. My dial indicator, not the greatest in the world, I grant you, but regardless, it's not necessarily designed for absolute precision work. All it's designed for is to find center line on pipe, or to tell me if I'm anywhere even remotely close. Remotely close at this point for me is good enough. I've had to modify a few tools. I modified the table on my little drill press because it wasn't nowhere near big enough to hold a vise. At least now it'll hold a single jaw vise. That's good enough for me. I've had to modify my chop saw. This was sloppy as hell when I first got it. I've got it down now where it's at least pretty close. I had to weld a plate onto this one, and I built this whole entire arm myself at a whole lot better tolerances than what it was when I bought it. I did the same thing to this little this little belt sander here. I had to build a little bit better table for it because it just wasn't quite big enough for what I was wanting to do with it. But like I said, all this stuff is basically, it's not hard to do. It just takes a little bit of thinking and a little bit of work, and that's all you got to do. This is a little bit of progress that I have made in the little bit of time that I've been doing this kind of stuff. I don't really know if it's worth a crap or not, but I know this one ain't. Anyways, this was my first attempt at this 2x72 grinder. So yeah, I mean, for real, this was a piece. So at least I think I'm headed in the right direction. The one I'm building now looks a whole lot better, and it's a whole lot more stable, and it's a whole lot cleaner. So that's kind of a step in the right direction, if nothing else, right?